We're now at a stage where we've installed Lightroom and we've been to our preferences. We've set up all the preferences and we've been to our catalog settings and we've set those up. Now I'll just bring your attention to the preview size, because when we import our images into Lightroom, we need to tell Lightroom the size of the preview images to create from the base images that we'll be importing. Now here I've got it set to auto, and it's detected that I'm using a 4K monitor whose pixel dimensions are 3840 pixels across. So if you're using a different kind of monitor, then you need to, if it detects the auto setting, then that's probably going to be correct. If not, select one of these pixel dimensions that will encompass the number of pixels across your monitor. That's fairly important, so that when you view your images at full screen, you see the maximum amount of resolution from that preview image. So I'll just close that one down. So if we look in the catalog, we can see that there are no photographs in the catalog, and the folders panel is empty because we've got nothing in there. So we do what it says, click on the import button to begin. Now this is importing images, say, that we've already got installed on our computer. We're not talking about new images from a memory card on the camera. So we'll import. And if we just have a quick look around the interface, we've got the source. These are the drives that we can import images from. This is what we can do with the images. We can copy them as DNG. So this is mainly for memory card from a camera, where we can convert the Nikon or Canon RAW files into the DNG format as we import them. Or we can just copy them, so from the memory card to Lightroom, or it'll be onto the computer, because we copied them from the card actually onto the computer, and you can tell it where to the destination where you want these images to be stored on the computer. You can move them from one location on the computer to another, or from a memory card onto the destination computer, or you can add them. So that's what we'll be doing here, because we'll be the images are already on the computer, but we need to add them to Lightroom. Now these panels down here change depending on which one of these you've got set. Okay. Now at the moment it's anticipating that we'll be doing it from a memory card. So we've got these panels here, including the destination, and you can see all the different drives as to where you want to bring your memory card. It isn't actually here because we haven't got a memory card active on the computer at the moment, but it'll be asking you where you want the images to be stored. But since we'll be looking for images already on the computer, I'm going to show you, this is where I store all of my RAW files. So if this was my own catalog, I'll be going to the RAW files and importing all of these. Okay, and you can see that instead of copy DNG here, it's actually automatically changed to add, because it's anticipating I want to add these images to Lightroom. Not actually move them, but just add them to Lightroom. Well, there's several 100,000 images there, so we're not going to do that. What I'm going to do is go to my photo folder here, and I've just created a demonstration set of folders called Lightroom Demo RAW Files, and in there I've gone and created some subfolders with images in those, and subfolders. So each one of these subfolders has got a few images in them. So Lightroom's saying, what do you want to do with these images? So you can, anything with a tick will be added when we import the images. It will add them to Lightroom. Won't move them or anything, it will just add them. If you want that one back, select it there. So by selecting that folder there, these 4 images could be imported. You can uncheck them all and just say select that one. In this case it will import that one image. Now normally we're wanting to import all our images, so rather than just selecting that folder there, we can select the higher level folder. Okay, and looking in here it's saying include subfolders. Okay, so with that selected, that folder will include all the subfolders and all the images contained within each subfolder. And if we look down here with that folder selected and all these subfolders, we've got, I'll just check all, make sure we've got check all there, 109 photos selected. If we go to the top level folder in this instance, it's now gone up to 261 photos, so it's including everything in that folder and the subfolders, that folder and the subfolder. All of these will be included in the import. So if I was using my raw files example, I just select the top level raw file and it will import all my 100,000 raw files into Lightroom. If we look across here, this is the file handling, and you can see when it imports them into Lightroom, it needs to render the images in a way that you can see them. Now it's going to build a very, very small thumbnail here, but if you wish to look at these images at full screen, you want a decent rendering of the image, and so this is where the build previews comes in. Now we could select 1:1, in which case that will give you the very best quality, but it will consume quite a lot of resources because it's having to generate like pseudo JPEG files purely for its own running purposes. So I tend to leave that at standard, and the standard preview in my case is that 3840 pixels, which is quite a large size anyhow. Build smart previews. I leave that unchecked because I don't use this facility. This is mainly for if you're got a load of external hard drives. So you've got an external hard drive and you've plugged it into your computer, you've imported the images into Lightroom from the external hard drive. Maybe if you're using a laptop or something like that. If you build smart previews for those images, you can then disconnect the hard drive, that external hard drive. You can then go away on your holiday or something, work on your images using the smart previews that Lightroom has generated. So you can do some development and that to those smart previews. Then when you reinsert the external hard drive into your computer, it will update its settings as if it's gone and applied those development settings to the external hard drive. I leave that unchecked because if you have it checked, it will have to create a smart preview which consumes resources. I don't use that facility, so don't select it. Don't import suspect duplicates. Well, this isn't really applicable in the sense that I'm just bringing in images that I've already got on my computer. Add to a collection. At this stage, I'm not adding any of these images to a collection. We haven't really created a collection yet, so we can't really do that. And we could make a second copy to a destination if we wish to here, but it's grayed out so because we're in the add mode here. Now apply during import. Now these are development settings. Now if I was bringing them in from a card reader, I'd probably want to apply a development setting to them, and there's some presets here from Lightroom that are already on there, but there's some user presets as well, and I've just gone and created a preset for basic adjustments. So if it was just normal photographs coming into Lightroom, I'd select basic adjustments from a memory card, from a camera. But because these images have already been processed quite a bit in Bridge because I've just installed Lightroom here. So they will already have some pre-existing development process applied to these raw files. Notice they're all raw files. Okay, DNG and CR2 Canon files. So I've already done some processing to them, and the processing will be stored within the headers of these files, or XMP files in the case of the Canon files. So I don't want Lightroom to override the processing that I've already done to them. So I'm going to leave that at none. Okay. In this instance, because we're just bringing existing photographs that I've already worked on into Lightroom. I don't want Lightroom overriding all the work I've done. Metadata, I have created a little set of metadata which basically says it's copyrighted, it's got my name and my address. So when I bring the images in to Lightroom, that will be applied to the metadata side of the file. Once we're happy with all that, all we've got to do is select Import. Now at the top here, you can see that they are being imported at their current location. I'll just get rid of that. Now this will take a little bit of time because it's importing them, and then it will generate building standard size previews. Okay, so it's going to take a little bit of while to do that, and I'll just select away. But that is how we import images. So you can see that I've already worked on some of these. I've applied star ratings and color labels, but this was all done in Bridge. Okay, but Lightroom is, because I didn't override the development settings, it's recognizing the processes that have already been applied to it. So that is how you import existing images into Lightroom. And if we just look in the folders here, well, you can see in the catalog we've now got 261 photographs in the catalog, and the previous import is 261 because that's the last import we've just gone and done. And in our folders panel you can see there's all the folders and subfolders, and we can just look at, there we go. So it's brought it in the hierarchy of folders and subfolders that I imported. Okay, so once it's built the standard size previews and that, we can then go on to sorting the images and developing them.